Instead of talking about the episode as a whole, I decided to take a scene from the episode and break it down and see what kind of message it's trying to convey, meaning a lot of speculations and random blabbing. The scene that I'll be talking about will be from the third episode of魔道祖师, where Wei Wuxian is having a conversation with Jiang Cheng and Ye Huaishang by the pond from 1408 to 1616-ish. I'll be taking a look at the position of the characters and some of the props present in the scene to see what they could possibly mean. Okay, let's start with the position of the characters. The first time in the scene where we get a shot of all three of them together in one frame is around 1415. Here the three characters are split in two separate groups. Jiang Cheng and Ye Huaishang are on one side while Wei Wuxian is on the other by himself. The two groups is not only separated by the clear line drawn between them by the greenery that cuts horizontally across the screen, but also the positioning of the tree that happens to cut between them vertically. This could possibly be symbolizing the difference between Wei Wuxian and them, how he isn't afraid to think outside the box and express these ideas of his. Oh yeah, Lan Wangji is also in this cut. He is partially blocked by Ye Huaishang. I'm going to make a wild assumption here. Ye Huaishang will get in the way of the progression of Lan Wangji and Wei Wuxian's relationship. It doesn't necessarily have to be the romantic kind. Maybe he does something that leads to Lan Wangji and Wei Wuxian to be on opposing sides. I feel that we can look at this positioning of the boys with how they are split in two sides to represent the two sides of the cultivation world. Of the three boys, Lan Wangji, Jiang Cheng and Ye Huaishang's side to be representing the law-abiding, good cultivators, good in quotations, as there are plenty of cultivators that don't dabble in the dark arts and are still disgusting pieces of shit, like those Wen sect guys we got the pleasure of meeting earlier this episode. And Wei Wuxian representing the other side, one where one isn't restrained by traditions and rules. Okay, let's jump to 1426. Such a big jump that is. Here, Jiang Cheng and Ye Huaishang is directly in front of Wei Wuxian, but they are still divided. There is another line of greenery that cuts between them. At this point, Lan Wangji is still relevant. He has yet to make his exit. He's remained where he originally was, meaning Jiang Cheng and Ye Huaishang is separated not only from Wei Wuxian but also from Lan Wangji. Could be suggesting that somewhere down the line they will be on opposing sides as well. As from what was shown in episode 2, Jiang Cheng and Lan Wangji don't seem to be too fond of each other, and there is a clear difference in the two's beliefs and ways of doing things. So this makes it possible that Ye Huaishang will not exactly be an enemy, but definitely not an ally to Lan Wangji. And since this group is positioned between Wei Wuxian and Lan Wangji, and what the two of them are representing, the dark side of the cultivation world and everyone else, and with them being closer to Wei Wuxian but separated by the shrubs, is this suggesting that maybe these two will dabble in things that will lead them to be separated from the rest of the cultivators? Now, the next time that the boys can be seen together on screen will be at around 1509. Here, there's a slight change in the positioning of the boys. At this point, Lan Wangji has long since gone, so just Jiang Cheng and Ye Huaishang is with Wei Wuxian. Here, Jiang Cheng is seen standing on the same side as Wei Wuxian. He's no longer standing side by side with Ye Huaishang. Jiang Cheng and Wei Wuxian are on the opposite side of him. This changing position is quite interesting, as we see this new positioning of the characters after hearing Ye Huaishang's expression of interest in using the Wrath of the Dead as a source of power. This makes me feel that Ye Huaishang is seriously interested in this idea, and if it's possible, he will definitely go down this path. He saw this as an easy way of getting power. While Wei Wuxian, who initially brought up this idea, isn't so keen on it. To him, it's just a possibility and a possibility alone. He has no interest in pursuing it. However, he doesn't come across to be exactly opposed to it either. Him being placed on the same side as Jiang Cheng suggests that the him at this point in time has no intentions of going down this much more difficult path. Not because he can't, but because he's not interested enough, and he clearly voiced his lack of interest in venturing down this unconventional path. While Ye Huaishang wants to go down this path, but can't, as he has no means of doing so, he's just not smart or gifted enough to do so. Okay, next at about 1529, Wei Wuxian, after expressing his lack of interest in venturing down the dark path of cultivation, he crosses the line that was between him and Jiang Cheng, and he pulls Jiang Cheng into a one-armed hug. Here, Ye Huaishang is still standing on the opposite side of them. This makes me think that he's going to become a foe to Jiang Cheng and Wei Wuxian. Not sure about Jiang Cheng, but he will most likely become one to Wei Wuxian, as in this scene, the two of them were mostly depicted to be on opposing sides. The one time they were shown to be side by side is when they were talking about Lan Wangji at 1444-ish. Okay, let's jump over to props that were present in this scene. The props all in one way or another have rather positive connotations. The lotus flower representing purity, the rock, turtle, pair of cranes all symbolize longevity, and the two koi fish meaning harmony. I find it interesting that the items in the background nicely contrast with what they are talking about, using the dead as a source of energy. Not exactly the most pure or harmonious thing that one can do. This conversation of theirs breaks the sense of tranquility that the scenery brings about. Furthermore, there are two instances in this scene where the peace and harmony is directly disrupted, and they are both caused by guess who? Yes, 聂怀商, suggesting that 聂怀商will be the one to break Wei Wuxian's current peaceful way of life. First of which was at 1410, where 聂怀商's boys caused the two koi fish to scatter. A pair of koi represents yin and yang, harmony, balance, thus them scattering in separate directions broke said balance. The second instance takes place at about 1504, when 聂怀商finished expressing his interest in the dark arts, and Wei Wuxian turns to reply him. The willow branch that he was holding hits the water, breaking the peace, and caused the turtle that was leisurely swimming about to scurry away. Now, if we look at the turtle's actions as a representation of Wei Wuxian's life, we will reach the conclusion that Wei Wuxian's life was forced to change paths due to external factors, meaning he could have lived a long and peaceful life, but something happened and this peace was broken, and he died prematurely. I can't think of a better word, so let's just stick with prematurely. And maybe 聂怀商 has something to do with this. Oh yeah, I also found it quite funny how Wei Wuxian's holding the willow branch in his hand the whole time. Willow in Chinese tradition is a tree that is said to ward off evil spirits. The man that will later on go on to control said spirits is playing with something that is meant to ward them off. Later on in this scene, we see that after Wei Wuxian throws the branch away, 聂怀商 catches it before it could hit the ground. So does this mean that 聂怀商 will venture down the same path as Wei Wuxian? If he does, the treatment of the willow branch maybe can be said to be a representation of how the two of them views the dark arts. One views it rather nonchalantly and the other treasures it deeply. And the manner in which 聂怀商 received the branch was from Wei Wuxian tossing it away. Maybe it's suggesting that the method in which 聂怀商 got involved with the dark arts was through Wei Wuxian, more specifically picking up what Wei Wuxian threw away. One other way of viewing the willow branch will be that it's foreshadowing that the peaceful times won't be around much longer. As in Chinese folklore, people give others a willow branch to express their desire for the other party to stay. Willow, 柳, is a homonym for stay, 柳. As Wei Wuxian was the one that threw the willow branch away, suggesting that maybe he was the direct cause for this disruption in the peace. From how the characters were positioned and the scenery that nicely contradicts with what the boys are saying, it suggests that the peace that the boys know of will soon be disrupted, and this very conversation by the pond might be a catalyst for the chaos that is to come. And from how 聂怀商 has been positioned throughout the scene, I'm starting to think that he's not as harmless as he appears to be, and he might be in some way responsible for Wei Wuxian venturing down the path of dark art cultivation. Or I could just be overthinking everything.